Says that I'm live. So it says that I'm live. So let me, hopefully you can hear me. Hopefully you can. Put it on mute on my computer. On my phone. It's my first time doing it this way. Yeah, you can. Cool. Cool. So I wanted to do story time tonight and I wanted to do it live. And I'm not sure, I have all my days like mixed up. So I don't know if um Snowfall actually comes on tonight, but you'll have to tell me. Hey Shaquay. So today is March 2nd, but it's also we launched the trailer for the special series for the Please Do Tell podcast, which is called Everyday People of the 49022. And if you're from the 49022, you've ever experienced the 49022, you know how much pride and love. I see Alicia and Betty. I know you know how much pride and love it is that comes from this place. So um March 2nd is very, very, very special to me because it is also my Burniversary. So it is the day that changed my life, my family's life forever. I know a lot of people have asked me before, is what's on my hand a birthmark? And on that day, I would say that it did become a birthmark. Why does it say this video has ended? I'm gonna just keep going. Anyways, it still says I'm live, right, y'all? Okay. Well, we just gonna go with it, right? We just gonna go with it. Okay. So I'm gonna read to you live about why this day is so important for my dad and I. And it's also Grief Talk Tuesday. So if you're ready, here we go. It's about a couple of pages, so just bear with me. So when okay, it's working fine. Thanks, Betty. Okay. So actually I was a contributor to this book some years ago. Like I can't believe I submitted my story to this book. It's been 2017. So I'm going to tell you why this day and why I continue to celebrate this day because, man, like I said, it changed my life forever. So if you're ready for live story time, if you're ready, here we go. Saturday night's aromas consisted of some variations of takeout, hair oil, a pressing comb, and anything else that would be used to prepare the household for an early rise on Sunday morning. My sister would be in the basement ironing my brother's clothes because he would pay her to do it, and no one ironed quite like her to him. My mom and I would be in the kitchen pressing my hair near the stove, you know, hold your ear down. The sizzle of the hair grease against the heat of the comb was enough to scare me to sit still. We knew by early Sunday morning around 7 a.m. that the rat race would begin. There could be anywhere from 2 to 5 people fighting over the one bedroom that accommodated us in the ranch style home. My brother would usually be first because he would have to be ready when our grandparents would pick him up. It was his job to chauffeur our Kojic grandparents to church in the morning, and we knew he wouldn't return until dusk. Listen, I was always grateful that we went to church with mama because we were home by 1:30 p.m. every Sunday. The girls and mom would pile into the van and head to the church that was literally a half mile away. And my dad would be in bed waiting for his turn to use the restroom because his day would be spent resting and watching football. It was something that we never challenged. I know that my parents always taught us to be an example, but what I didn't understand is why my dad didn't get up and dressed and go to church with us. Am I blocking anything? Okay, making sure. Why didn't we see him pray? How did a person that came from a Christian home not enjoy attending church like the rest of us? My father was never a religious man. I can remember my father and his siblings stating that they had been churched out from going when they were younger. My father probably attended church during the times we were performing in a play, holidays, or for baptism. Other than that, his activities on Sundays consisted of football and naps. I never knew where his faith lied until he received a phone call that changed his life forever. It was a Tuesday evening. Isn't that ironic? It's a Tuesday evening now. Okay. It was a Tuesday evening. I had fallen asleep after a long day at work and was going to make a quick meal. I was working a full time job and attending classes at night for graduate school and moved to North Carolina from Michigan after completing undergraduate school just 3 years prior. This night, I was more exhausted than usual, so I grabbed the first thing I saw from the fridge. I cut up some potatoes and seasoned my catfish, placed a pot of grease on the stove, and sat down while I waited for the grease to heat. I dozed off, woke up dazed, saw smoke, and then flames. Without thinking clearly, I grabbed the pot from the stove and made a mad dash for the door to place the pot outside. The hot grease began to spill over onto my right hand, and it almost seemed as if I was moving much slower than before. When I opened the door, the wind and rain met me on the other side. The flames grew, the pot dropped, and the first thing I knew to do was protect my eyes, especially after seeing flames fly up the stairs. I ran back inside and in shock, I called my friend and told her, I think I need to go to the emergency room. As I ran my fingers through my hair, which was now transferring from my scalp to my fingertips to the bathroom floor. My friend drove me to the emergency room at Duke University's hospital. My friend called my mother to inform her first. I was eventually transferred to the back of the emergency room where I was assessed and given medication for pain. My friend then called my father, who simply wanted updates of my pain levels. My father, as usual, did not want to show any emotions. My friend tried her best to shield me that night from going into the bathroom. They didn't want me to see my face. From stating that I didn't need to move or to asking if I wanted to use the bedpan, my response was, I know what you're trying to do, but I'm okay. I went into the bathroom that night and looked in the mirror and said, Lord, it's going to be okay. 30 minutes after my pep talk with myself, I was transferred to the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill's Burn Center. My injuries were more severe than everyone thought. After being notified that I would need surgery, my sister and my mom hopped on a plane from Michigan. My sister and my mother were present for my stay at the hospital, and my father was committed to my care once I was released. While in the hospital, I counted my blessings daily. The burn unit was to capacity with those that had been injured during the earthquake in Haiti. You remember the 7.0 magnitude and it affected 3.5 million people. There was no time to get depressed. God had supplied me with constant reminders that I was truly blessed. My dad would fly to North Carolina from Michigan once I was notified of my discharge, therapy orders, and to prepare my house for limited mobility. As many times I've asked him to come visit, this is something that got him on a plane within an instant. When he arrived at the hospital for my discharge, his words were, What's up? You look bad. Mom and Jennifer were trying to sugarcoat how you were doing, but your friend told me the truth. My dad didn't know how to be compassionate in that moment. He was too hurt and believed that the road to recovery was going to be long and hard. I was determined to share my mustard seed of faith with him on this journey. At home, my instructions were to apply ointment to my face religiously every day, change the bandages on my skin graft sites, and do therapy. I was told my skin would come back. My dad took me to aftercare appointments with my doctor, occupational therapy for my hand, and physical therapy for my leg. I was nervous about going outside of the new scars because of my new scars on my face. If I believed I was going to be okay on that Tuesday night in the hospital bathroom, he had to believe on that chase 3 weeks later. On that chase, like my chase, my sofa or my love seat, whatever, child. My dad would check in with family every night, giving them a play-by-play of what he witnessed. I heard him on the phone with one of his best friends, who is Mr. Ed Anderson, who I love dearly, which is also Miss Bertha Carson King's brother-in-law. So he said, yeah, man, try not to get emotional. Ooh, yeah, man, it's like a miracle. She is putting that cream on her face and that old dead skin is slipping right off. I purposely applied the ointment in front of him. I wanted him to see the transformation. He brought his hair clippers on the trip and I asked him to cut my hair off. I had patches of hair everywhere and needed to have it even, which meant sporting a ball fade. To keep busy while I was sleeping, he cooked, cleaned, hung mirrors on the wall, purchased a shower chair, and assembled a dining room table. One night, he discovered that he made a mistake with a purchase that didn't feel like going to the store. He quickly changed his mind and said, what would Jesus do? I looked at him puzzled, wanted him to repeat what he said, but he just had a smirk on his face and kept working. Days later, my father decided to depart North Carolina and was devastated that I decided to stay behind. I was going to be okay. He had done the hard part, which was getting me back to being independent, but was hurt that I wasn't coming back to Michigan so he can keep an eye on me. We were standing in the TSA line for the airport and I talked to him until I couldn't go any further. He told me that my hair would grow back and that he hadn't been on a plane in over 20 years. I began to walk away and tears began to form in my eyes. And he said, "Oh, Chief, don't tune up on me. You'll be all right. Love you." Which simply meant don't get to crying on me. I couldn't help it. I left that airport with tears flowing down my face, knowing that my immediate support system was now gone. I sat on my bed that evening. I looked out the window and thought this journey was not all about me. Who was it for? I walked in the bathroom, looked at my face, and I instantly knew it was for the person that was uncertain about their walk, whose faith had been shifted, who questioned their beliefs. This journey was for my dad. He got through the transformation process. We got through the transformation process together. The next 3 years would be trying for both of us. His health began to decline after returning to Michigan, and that is something that he decided to keep to himself. At the same time, every year, he would be admitted to the hospital. It was quite odd, but somehow he would be released and bounced back as good as new. One summer, I decided to come home after my internship in Richmond, Virginia. I was able to spend 6 to 7 weeks with my father. Every morning, we would go out to breakfast at his favorite diner, and it was also a place that the entire family would frequent before our road trips. Every morning, his line of questioning would be on the path of when was I graduating from grad school and what did I want to do after I finished. During his illness and shortly after my accident, I was removed from grad school because of a mishap with my grades. After my first surgery, I was notified that a second surgery was necessary for the mobility of my right hand. I wasn't in constant communication with my professor to assure that my grade would be changed. There was an I that turned to an F. After a year of not reminding my professor to input the right grade, I was devastated because that caused me to sit out of school. I didn't have the heart to tell my father what happened over the phone. Finally told him face to face at the diner one of those mornings. He told me to not ever let someone else hold my destiny in their hands. Never let communication fall by the wayside when it comes to a situation as serious as my future, a degree. After that summer, our life would change dramatically. Coming home that summer was the best decision I could have ever made. That was year 2. I came home for Christmas and witnessed our Superman confined to a walker, something he didn't mention during our phone conversations. He stated that with a little therapy, he would be back to his old self. The day after Christmas, I drove him to his doctor's appointment. We get to the back, and the doctor uttered these words: "We're going to do an MRI to see if the cancer is spread to your femur bone." My dad sat in the chair with a blank stare and provided no response. I sat across from him, stunned. What did this all mean? Less than 2 months after that meeting in the doctor's office, I would be traveling back home again to say my final goodbye to him. I was angry, distraught, confused, and then numb. I didn't have enough time with him, and it just wasn't fair. Then I wondered if he knew he was sick. Of course, he did. Looking through his things, he knew. I even think back to those nights staying up late in North Carolina. After my discharge, he was determined to find this one episode about prostate cancer on the Dr. Oz show. He knew then. I can't dwell on how I found out or that some days I miss him like crazy. I find comfort in knowing that he returned to the church that we all grew up and became their handyman, and in fulfilling the 3 promises I gave to him during the last 48 hours of his life. I found myself in a dark place soon after his passing. I decided to move back to Michigan to be closer to family, but when I sat in the basement of my sister's house, I had to put together a plan. My dad always preached about having a plan. I prayed about it and received some advice from one of my closest friends, Demita, and my sister. I contacted my professor and asked about options of re-enrolling. He came up with an action plan in April, and by August, I was moving into my new place in North Carolina. That entire year was a testament of faith. When I completed my studies, I will work on my 2 other promises that I made to my dad: a draft of my children's book and an outline for my first documentary project. I was determined to graduate with high honors within a year, and I did just that, magna cum laude from North Carolina Central University on May 9th, 2014. I began the documentary studies program at Duke University a month after graduation. Before I relocated to Dallas, Texas for my new job assignment, I would fly back and forth for classes over the next year until my job informed me that they didn't have the funding to keep me employed full time. But I went back to the plan that I made on the couch at my sister's place. I was using my full time job at the time to fund my dreams. A week after becoming unemployed, my illustrator for my children's book informed me that the book was complete and my documentary project was delivering the most peace I had ever experienced in my life. And one of those promises challenged me to fulfill my purpose of telling the stories of those in my community that live with grief every day. So when this was written 5 years later, after his passing, I have found a new reason to live. This is my story, but it's not my life. So like I said, I wrote that 2016, 2017. And so it was a charge on my life to be more intentional about the stories that I tell or the stories that people have entrusted me with. So this new series for the Please Do Tell podcast, Everyday People of the 49022, is dedicated to the community that is that continues to remind me that I have to push forward with the calling that's on my life. So I have some amazing people that are going along with me on this journey, and I couldn't be more grateful. I couldn't be more grateful. So I want to be able to do more of these, especially since I'm paying for the Zoom special package. I should be able to do more of these. I see the comments. I so appreciate y'all. I love y'all. I love y'all. I don't just say that just be saying I love y'all. But I'm gonna try to do more of these, get more comfortable with doing, because if you follow my stories, my stories are usually a hot mess. They're usually a hot mess. So I usually do story time in my stories, but maybe once a week. Alicia. Once a week, try to do these live. So you let me know what you want me to tell a story about, or bring somebody else on and we tell a story together. I even thought about asking my brother Gerald and my sister Jennifer. I know we recorded a story time back in October, so maybe I'll release that. Yeah. Yeah, maybe I'll do that. Or maybe we could do it live. I don't know. I'm gonna ask now. But that'll be further down the line. But I appreciate y'all. So thank you for rocking with me. Be sure to go on the now with the Glee. Wait. So I do got my tambourine. But anyways, Demita, let's go. Candace, I love you too, child. Yeah, let's do a heartbeat story time. But for sure, so there is a Please Do Tell podcast page. I'll probably try to tag that on here. And be sure to subscribe on wherever you listen to podcasts. The first promo for the podcast will launch tomorrow. The trailer is already out there. It's on YouTube. Should be on the Please Do Tell podcast page, and definitely on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, but really wherever you listen to podcasts is where you can find it. Okay. So again, the new series, Everyday People of the 49022, is going to be amazing. I can't wait. We can't wait. Was talking to my cousin Perry today, like, we can't wait to share this with y'all. So Uriah's in the comment. Uriah is is another person that went out into the community, and my gosh, he got some really good stories. And you'll see some people in the comments that are really familiar with what I'm talking about. So I just want you to be familiar. I don't want you to miss this ride, because it's going to be a good one. It's going to be a good one. So Please Do Tell again is doing a special series, which is Everyday People of the 49022. But this has been Story Time with Ronnika, or Miss RJ, as some of y'all know me as. And it is my Burniversary, and my Burniversary gift to myself was to have story time with you all. So Jamar, Keena, April, listen, I was just bigging up you today. Bigging up, I don't even know if that rolls, but I was just singing your praises today. I was just saying that there's going to be an event, I think, coming up in May or June, that I told someone, yeah, you need her to do your desserts. And then I said I got somebody else to do the cookies. So it's finna be real lit. It's finna be real lit. Hey, Nakia. Okay, so I appreciate y'all. I'm gonna get off here. I'm gonna stop rambling. But so I'll try to do more story time outside of just my stories. So y'all really should be thanking Alicia, Isom, Crockett, because she challenged me to do this. And now Demita said we're gonna be doing heartbeat story time. So I appreciate y'all. I love y'all, and be sure to subscribe and follow, and we'll get this everyday people to 49022 on and popping. So I know there's going to be radio spots, and I'm doing a radio interview, I know on the 19th, but the 99.1 is on the 4th, which perfect, right? So, all right, I'll see y'all. Oh gosh, so different. Now I got to figure out how to get off of here. Help me, Lord. I appreciate y'all. Biscuit, aka Pancake. Listen, you know I will end everything with a bang. Okay, Kina, I will see you in the morning. All right, y'all, for real. Take care. Love y'all. Grief Talk Tuesday. Be sure to share your story with somebody today. Bye.